ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Namaste my dear friends, this is video number 4 on the Vedas and Upanishads. Topic of this video is Nirguna Brahma and Saguna Brahma. So I start with description of Nirguna Brahma. Nirguna Brahma, as has already been stated, cannot be characterized by any indicative marks, qualities or attributes. Therefore, it is not describable by words, from whence all speech with the mind turns away, unable to reach it. Sri Ramakrishna has said that all the scriptures and statements of holy men have been polluted, as it were, like food that has come in contact with the human tongue. Brahma alone remains unpolluted because no tongue has been able to touch it. Brahma cannot be attained by speech, by the mind or by the eye. That's why the attributeless Brahma is explained sometimes by silence. Shankara declares in his commentary on Brahma Sutras that Badhva, being questioned about Brahma by Baskalin, explained it to him by silence. He said to Baskalin, "Learn Brahma, O friend," and became silent. Then on his second and third questioning, Badhva replied, "I am teaching you indeed, but you do not understand. Silence is that self." The impossibility of knowing Brahma by any human means has been most emphatically expressed in the famous formula employed by Yajnavalkya. Neti neti, not this, not this. This self is that which has been described as not this, not this. In describing the attributeless Brahma, the Upanishads employ usually the technique of negation, which otherwise cannot be seen or seized, which has no root or attributes, no eye or ears, no hands or feet, which is imperishable and the source of all beings. Turiya, the attributeless Dharma, is not that which is conscious of the internal subjective world, nor that which is conscious of the external objective world, nor that which is conscious of both, nor that which is a mass of sentiency, nor that which is simple consciousness, nor that which is insentient. It is unperceived by any sense organ, not related to anything, incomprehensible to the mind, uninferable, unthinkable, indescribable. The Upanishads abound in passages like the above. They all mean that Brahma is totally indescribable by tongue and incomprehensible to the mind. Ultimate reality is neither sun nor moon, neither star nor planet, neither god nor angel, neither man nor animal. It is not earth, water, fire, air or space. It is not an object of sensation. It is completely different from all that is expressed by the tongue or conceived by the mind. We read in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad that the learned and proud Balaki approached King Ajatasattu and said, "I will tell you about Brahma." He gave 12 descriptions of Brahma as the soul, Purusha in the sun, the moon, lightning, space, the wind, fire, water, and so on. But each time he was told that these deities occupy subordinate positions in the whole of nature. The king then instructed Balaki about Dharma through the illustration of deep sleep, which is the negation of all attributes and is at the same time the source of the positive experiences of the waking and the dream states. A great school of Buddhist philosophers has described ultimate reality as the void sunyam. A tangible object, a fruit for instance, is only a combination of attributes such as color, smell, taste or touch. If these are eliminated one by one, what remains is the void of the Buddhist and the Dharma of the Vedantist. Vedanta emphasizes the unknowability and indescribability of ultimate reality. Though unknown and unknowable, Brahma is yet the eternal knower of knowing and also the goal of all knowledge. It is the consciousness that functions through the senses but cannot be known by them. How can you know the eternal knower? It is different from the known. It is above the unknown. Brahma is neither the subject nor the object. It is neither the knower nor knowledge nor what is known. It is neither the seer nor the seeing nor what is seen. It is neither gross nor subtle, neither great nor small, neither being nor non-being, neither happiness nor unhappiness, neither mind nor matter. It is beyond all notions of substance and attributes. Nothing whatsoever can be predicated of it. Yet the search for Brahma is not futile. The Upanishads reiterate that its realization is the supreme purpose of life. Having realized Atma, one is freed from the jaws of death. It is the supreme unity of all contradictions. In it alone all differences are harmonized. That which you see as other than righteousness and unrighteousness, other than all this cause and effect, other than what has been and what is to be, tell me that. Sometimes the Upanishads ascribe to Brahma irreconcilable irreconcilable attributes in order to deny in it all empirical predicates and to show that it is totally other than anything we know. That non-dual Atma, though never stirring, is swifter than the mind. The Devas cannot reach it, for it moves ever in front. Though standing still, it overtakes others who are running. Though sitting still, it travels far. Though lying down, it goes everywhere. Who but myself can know that luminous Atma who rejoices and rejoices not? Dharma is often described as subtler than an atom and greater than the great. The two attributes, though opposed to each other, are valid from the relative standpoint. Dharma is the essence of subtle as well as of a gross substance. But these attributes do not apply to the absolute Brahma. The opposing predicates in the above-mentioned passages are ascribed to Brahma in such a manner that they cancel each other and leave to the mind the idea of an indefinable pure consciousness free of all attributes. Pure consciousness in association with material upadhis appears to possess empirical qualities such as nearness and distance or rest and movement, like a transparent crystal that assumes different colors in the presence of flowers of differing hue. The unconditioned Nirupadhik Dharma. Dharma is devoid of upadhis or limiting adjuncts. The entire phenomenal universe is subject to the categories of space, time, and causation. But Brahma, the supreme reality, is beyond. In contrast with phenomenal objects, Brahma is not in space but is spaceless. Brahma is not in time but is timeless. Brahma is not subject to causality but independent of the causal chain. That which is not destroyed when the upadhis of time, space, and causation are destroyed is Brahma, the immortal reality. In describing Brahma as omnipresent, all pervading, unlimited, infinitely great, and infinitely small, the Upanishads only point out that it is absolutely spaceless. That, O Gargi, which is above heaven and below the earth, which is this heaven and earth as well as what is between them, and which they say was, is, and will be, is pervaded by the unmanifested Akasa Brahma. In the beginning, Brahma was all this. He was one and infinite, infinite in the east, infinite in the south, infinite in the west, infinite in the north, above and below, and everywhere infinite. East and the other regions do not exist for him, no athwart, no beneath, no above. The Supreme Self is not to be fixed. He is unlimited, unborn, not to be reasoned about, not to be convinced. What exists in space can be measured, but Brahma is beyond space and therefore immeasurable. Hence, it can be described equally as all pervading, great, and omnipresent, or as atomic anu, small as the point of a needle or as the hundredth part of a hair. He is myself within the heart, smaller than a corn of rice, smaller than a corn of barley, smaller than a mustard seed, smaller than a canary seed, or the kernel of a canary seed. He is myself within the heart, greater than the earth, greater than the sky, greater than the heaven, greater than all these worlds. The wise man, having realized the self as great and all pervading, does not grieve. That living soul, Brahma, is to be known as part of the hundredth part of the point of a hair, divided 100 times, and yet it is to be known as infinite. Brahma, which is spaceless and immeasurable, is also indivisible. For the same reason, Brahma is incorporeal and partless, who is without parts, without actions, tranquil, faultless, taintless, the highest bridge to immortality, like a fire that has consumed its fuel. All that exists in space is divisible and therefore subject to plurality. But the indivisible and incorporeal Brahma is free from plurality. What is here, the same is there, and what is there, the same is here. He goes from death to death. Who sees any difference here? The timelessness of Brahma is indicated by stating that it is free from the limitations of past, present, and future. Sometimes it is described as eternal without beginning or end, sometimes as momentary involving no time at all, other than what has been and what is to be. that which they say was, is, and will be, at whose feet rolling on the year with its days passes by, upon that immortal light of all lights the gods meditate as longevity. Brahma is described as instantaneous duration through the illustration of lightning. They say lightning is Brahma. It is like a flash of lightning. It is like a wink of the eye. Brahma is independent of causation. Causality is operative only in the realm of becoming and cannot affect pure being. Dharma is not the creator of the universe in the sense that a potter is the creator of a pot, nor the cause of the universe in the sense that milk is the cause of curds. No change is possible in Dharma. It is itself causeless. Therefore, it is called the imperishable. Aksaram. It should be realized in one from only, for it is unknowable and eternal. The self is taintless beyond the subtle akasa, birthless, infinite, and constant. In other words, Dharma is free from all the transformations of birth, death, growth, decline, increase, and decrease. The knowing self is not born, it does not die, it has not sprung from anything, nothing has sprung from it. Birthless, eternal, everlasting, and ancient. It is not killed when the body is killed. Dharma is unknowable. It has already been stated that the Supreme Dharma cannot be identified by any characteristic, sign, or attribute. Therefore, it is declared to be indescribable in words and unknowable to the mind. Avangana nas gocharam. How is an object known? Either by a sense organ or by the mind. Form is the object of the eye, sound of the ear, touch of the skin, smell of the nose, and taste of the tongue. But Brahma is without form, sound, touch, smell, or taste. His form is not an object of vision. No one beholds him with the eye. The mind is termed by some Hindu psychologists the sixth organ of perception. By means of it one experiences such feelings as pleasure and pain, elation and depression. The determinative faculty of the mind is called the buddhi. When an object is grasped by the buddhi, it is already conditioned by the buddhi. But the infinite Brahma is unconditioned, therefore it is not grasped by the buddhi. The light of Brahma endows the senses and the mind with their sentiency. They cannot enlighten Brahma. To be known, a thing must be made an object. Brahma, as pure consciousness, is the eternal subject. It cannot be made an object. One must presuppose Brahma in order to know objects. Therefore, one cannot know it as an object. Brahma, the substratum of all experience, cannot itself be an object of experience. But more properly, one cannot even say that Brahma is a subject, for a subject must have an object that it perceives. Nothing exists, however, except Brahma. All that can be said then of Brahma is that it is. How can it be realized in any other way than by the affirmation of him who says he is? He by whom Dharma is not known knows it. He by whom it is known knows it not. It is not known by those who know it. It is known by those who do not know it. As long as one is conscious of the duality of subject and object, one does not know Dharma. The realization of this transcendent absolute is an inexpressible experience in which the distinction between subject, object, and knowledge is annihilated and they become one. Since Brahma, as the knower of knowing, can never become an object for us, it is called unknowable. You cannot see that which is the witness of vision. You cannot hear that which is the hearer of hearing. You cannot think of that which is the thinker of thought. You cannot know that which is the knower of knowledge. He is never seen, but is the witness. He is never heard, but is the hearer. He is never thought of, but is the thinker. He is never known, but is the knower. There is no other witness but him, no other hearer but him, no other thinker but him, no other knower but him. That which cannot be expressed by speech, but by which speech is expressed, that alone know as Brahma, and not that which people here worship. That which cannot be apprehended by the mind, but by which they say the mind is apprehended. That alone know as Brahma, and not that which people here worship. Brahma is unknowable for still another reason. It is Bhuma, infinite. The infinite Bhuma is bliss. There is no bliss in anything finite. Infinity alone is bliss. This infinity, however, we must desire to understand. What is the infinite? This is how it is described in the Upanishads. Where one sees nothing else, hears nothing else, understands nothing else, that is the infinite. Where one sees something else, hears something else, understands something else, that is the finite. The infinite is immortal, the finite mortal. Sir, in what does the infinite rest? In its own greatness? No, not even in greatness. Brahma is one and without a second. Ekamev vad advityam. The second part of this phrase, and without a second, qualifying the first one, is important. For what it means is that Brahma is not one in the sense that the sun or the moon is one, or in the sense that the God of the monotheist is one. In such a case, there is a perceiver of oneness which implies a duality. When the non-duality of Brahma is completely realized, there is absolutely no consciousness, and consciousness of subject and object. The distinction between perceiver and perceived is annihilated and they become one. Three kinds of differences are distinguished in the relative world. Number one, a tree is different, Vijatiya Bheda, from a stone. Second, the oak is different, Savjatiya Bheda, from the poplar. Third, in the same tree, the blossom is different, Savagata Bheda, from the leaf. All of these differences disappear in Brahma, which is homogeneous consciousness without a break. That's why Brahma is unknowable. Because when there is duality, as it were, then one smells something, one sees something, one hears something, one speaks something, one thinks something, one knows something. But when to the knower of Brahma everything has become the self, then what should one smell and by what means? What should one see and by what means? What should one hear and by what means? What should one speak and by what means? What should one know and by what means? By What means should one know? That owing to which all this is known by what means, O Maitreyi, should one know the knower. Satchidana, Satchidananda, existence, knowledge, bliss, absolute. I will take this in the next video.